Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here in Antwerp with yet another brand new brew review. And today is a rather special one because it is brew review number 400. Now, quite honestly, I never dreamed I'd make it to even 100, let alone 400, and with exponentially more subscribers than I ever anticipated. So maybe this is the time to thank each and every one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thanks for sticking with me. Of course, such an anniversary calls for a festive beer, and what is better for the occasion than a true champagne beer? An enriched beer. Enriched champagne beer. So I dug up a bottle of Jeanne Brut Royal bourbon from the cellar. Now, the Brut Royal range is a series of beers brewed following the méthode champenoise or traditionnelle. But after the removal of the yeast or remuage, they top off the bottle with a liqueur d'expédition in the form of either cognac, calvados or bourbon. In this case I chose bourbon, and since Jeanne works solely with the finest ingredients for their assemblies, they use an award-winning Elijah Craig 94 proof small batch blend of 8 to 12 years old from Heaven Hill Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. Now, Elijah Wood is better known as the father of bourbon for being the first one to char the oak barrels that he used to age the bourbon in. And in doing so, he had a myriad of tricks up his sleeve to widen the aroma and taste palettes of his products. Now, the small batch is known for its complex aroma with notes of vanilla, sweet fruit and fresh mint, and the flavor is best described as smooth, warm and woody with spicy and smoky accents, hints of honey and marzipan and a touch of nutmeg and wildflower. I'm getting a bit thirsty. Now, the end product is a 10.5% ABV champagne beer with fine pearly bubbles and a very complex palate, as we are used to by Dame Jeanne. Now, as usual, we have this beautiful black and gold crest form label. Doesn't say more than it has to. It just says Belgian Brut beer, Jeanne Brut Royal, 10.5% ABV, 75 centiliters, and méthode traditionnelle. You can't see this from afar, but this logo depicts the bottles being stored at an angle of 45 degrees to catch the yeast in the neck. Well, the color is on point from the muselet, but it is not a branded one. But they did add a neck, a neck card, not a neck label. Belgian Brut Beer, Brut Royal, Liqueur d'Expédition, Bourbon, with this lovely Dame Jeanne logo. Brut digestive beer made from 100% natural ingredients, water, barley malt, hop, yeast, Liqueur d'Expédition, bourbon. Brut beer according to the traditional method, riddling, disgorging, and Liqueur d'Expédition, Elijah Craig, small batch bourbon. So yeah, it keeps coming back. And fun fact is actually that these guys are based at the Mixebaan in Brasschaat, which is like a 10-minute drive from here. So I should really look into that more. Of course, a celebration would be nothing if not with the proper glassware, especially with a fancy schmancy beer like this. We do like the proper glassware, and because this is a champagne beer, Dame Jeanne chose for the modern classic champagne glass. So it's not a flute, it's not a coupe, it is more like, I'd say, a grape. And I do know that this is one of the preferred glass shapes in the champagne world. I visited the Champagne region, I think 3 times in the last 2 years. I visited a bunch of champagne houses, wineries, also Pressoria, the Champagne Museum, and they all use this glass, and honestly I really like it. It is very elegant, it is absolutely beautiful, and it is very functional as well, because the old flute and especially the coupe, those don't keep in the aroma at all. Those are just for show, absolutely not functional. The flute a bit more than the coupe, but this is a very interesting glass shape, because you do get to see all of the colors because of the widening of this shape, and then it folds back in a bit just to keep the aroma in, and is the exact right size to capture the tip of the nose while drinking, so to boost the aroma straight into the nasal cavities as we drink. So yeah, génial, as they say in French. Now, without further ado, let's have a taste, because I am very, very curious. I love Dame Jeanne as far as I know them, but the only ones that I had from them were, I think, the original and the Brut Royal, which I have reviewed here. So nice colored muselet and a generic cork. Oh, even the cork smells interesting. Let's take this off before it's in my glass, knowing myself. Okay. Beautiful effervescence, very, very nice, swirling and bubbling, hyperactive, I would say. Also a beautiful, pale yellow, golden yellow color, going from almost translucent white to this gold in the middle, a bit pale on the sides, and that is one of the things that makes this glass such a beautiful glass. Nice, thick white foam, as a beer should have. Now, of course, this is re-fermented, and this is fermented with a champagne yeast as well. So this is mixed fermentation, a base beer, then the champagne yeast. Oh, look at that! Absolutely stunning. Oh, very complex aroma, very odd as well. A bit of carbon dioxide, of course, but also some fruitiness, some acidity, a bit of sweetness, but mainly quite heavy, very bourbon heavy, very woody, a bit astringent. For some reason I also get a bit of like cheese in there. That might sound weird, could be my nasal cavities as well. Although I do have a bit of a cold, so. But yeah, let's have a taste. Cheers. Oh, got some dust specks in the glass. Oh wow. This is a lot. I have a lot going on. The nose isn't as pleasant as I expected, but this flavor, wowee. First off, mouthfeel, straight 12 out of 10, as with most champagne beers, but this one way ahead of the rest. Like I said, a beautiful mouthfeel, lovely effervescence, carbonation spot on, tingling all over, also quite malty, not sweet malty, but flavor-wise malty, and at the same time pretty bitter and heavy, so a bit hoppy, but of course that bourbon has something to do with that. And for some reason, when I started tasting this, I was expecting cognac, somehow forgetting that I took the bourbon one. But yeah, this is quite straightforward. This is quite bourbon heavy as well. And I do get that hoppiness and that maltiness from the base beer, and that lovely mouthfeel. But on the other hand, I think they put in quite a bit of bourbon. Now, oftentimes we are talking quite the plug in the neck. So let's say, well, technically one of these glasses. So out of every bottle, around one glass is bourbon. You might want to call this infused. You have to take that up with the brewer, but technically, yeah, you would be right. However, back to the flavor. I do get a lot of wood, I get a lot of oak, I get a bit of smokiness. And when I read that story about Elijah charring his barrels, yeah, this is quite the beer. Now, I'm not the biggest bourbon fan, and if you're not a bourbon fan at all, I would say pass this by, leave it as is, and go for one of their other beers, like the Brut Royal or the Brut d'Anvers, or something else altogether. But despite not being a bourbon fan, and this being very bourbon heavy in the flavor, I still kind of like it, because it is so beautiful. Like I said, the mouthfeel, the overall sensation is downright beautiful. And I'm quite sure, or be it not fitting for this beer, but if you would do the exact same thing with, let's say, a bit of Caribbean rum, this will be the bomb for me and a whole market segment of me's. Yeah, but this is so well made. Look at that. Yeah, very nice. I would have expected a bit more acidity, or yeah, a bit more of an astringent flavor as well. But in the mouth, that actually fades away very quickly. So it's quite present in the nose, but while tasting, way less, which is also pretty nice actually. Yeah, I'm going out on a limb here, but you have to taste this if you're a bourbon fan, but otherwise, maybe it's a bit too niche for you. I adore the idea and the story behind this and the quality and all that. Would I go out and buy another one? Not immediately. Now, I must be honest, I did get this as a gift from a close friend of mine, so thanks a lot, you know who you are, and I absolutely love it, of course, and I'm curious for the other ones as well, so I want to try them all, but I don't think that I would buy another one immediately. I was drinking my mustache there. Okay, let's call this a 375. Again, not my cup of tea, but in recognition of the quality and the craftsmanship, easy 375. So I'm gonna put this bottle aside and probably share it with some friends tomorrow. Which reminds me that I still have to cap it off. Very important. Now, that all being said, thank you guys so much for sticking with me for 400 episodes. I always say things are gonna change and things keep changing. So I am gonna change a bit more on this channel, but more on that later on. For now, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment down below if you have any questions or remarks. If you want to see more, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you'll get notified whenever I upload something. And if you want to support this channel, hit share and just share some videos. And we might have some more possibilities later on, but I am working on some things. So until then, I will see you guys again on Saturday. Cheers.